Galactic and Earth History. Part 7, Timeline from 950 billion years ago to 1 million. Researched, written, and produced by Aaron Scudder. Special thanks to Ashiana Dean, Stuart Swerdlow, Dr. Shakuntala Modi and others for source material. The difficulty of gaining accurate information about the ancient past increased with distance into the past. Cursory investigation will yield wildly contradictory results. The only way to gain certainty is to corroborate information from various sources. I have attempted to do this by cross-referencing information. The timeline that follows is the best result from more than 30 years of research. About 90% of my research has been discarded as information that falls outside what seems to be a best-fit timeline. Information about extraterrestrials and the ancient past seems to be about 90% misinformation. Unfortunately, most misinformation is coming from the New Age movement, a movement that was created to provide fairy tales about our benevolent space brothers who will save us in a time of crisis, thereby making an alien invasion expedient. How does one discern good information from deliberate misinformation? The approach is to, over several decades, research as much as possible from widely varying sources. To seek out both sides of an argument to avoid becoming partial to any theory, it is necessary to consider information, firstly, impartially, then, like a murder trial, examine and cross-reference information. It is like a jigsaw puzzle. An image appears when pieces are joined together. Information is suspect until it is proven to have merit, that is, to be skeptical and impartial, without being cynical. Before there was any such thing as time, before the 15-dimensional time matrix had been created, the energy of God builds up inside a ball of light and splits off into the void. About 950 billion years ago, seeding of life began with three founder races who are beings of density 4 prematter hydro-plasmic fields of dimensions 10 to 12. The Anuhazi Elohei-Elohim, who are feline hominid density 4 prematter liquid light form, the Inyu-Braharama cetacean race, and an Avian hominid, reptile form called the Cerez-Seraphai-Seraphim. These races were seeded on 3 planets in the constellation of Lyra. The Elohei-Elohim on Lyra-Aramatena, the Brahayama on Lyra Aveyon, and the Cerez-Seraphai-Seraphim on Lyra-Vega. The founder races created stargates providing instantaneous travel between planets and galaxies. There are 12 stargates between density 4 and 1. Density 1 is third-dimensional reality. The stargates allow manifestations to come into physicality to create matter and for interstellar travel. Lyra-Aramatena is the location of the original stargate, the entry point from higher dimensions. The Elohei-Elohim were appointed the guardians of Lyra-Aramatena and Stargate 12. Lyra-Avalon has Stargate 11 and is co-occupied by the Elohei-Elohim and one of the Brahayama founder races. The Cerez-Seraphai-Seraphim are guardians of Stargate 10 on Lyra-Vega. These original races in the Lyra cooperated for about 700 billion years until they experimented with genetic manipulation about 250 billion years ago. Several races were creating new life forms, new variations of themselves to experience creation, which also created distortions in their consciousness. Genetic engineering resulted in corruption or convolution of the genetic blueprint. This code convolution can be compared to inbreeding. When a genetic line is combined within itself too many times, distortions are introduced in its pattern. This is also true on density 4, not with chemicals but with scalar wave templates. War broke out between the mutant Cerez-Seraphai-Seraphim of Lyra-Vega at Stargate 10 and a faction of the Elohei-Elohim at Stargate 11. The fallen Elohei-Elohim wanted to destroy Lyra-Vega but save the Brahayama who were cohabitating with Cerez-Seraphai-Seraphim on Lyra-Vega, and they asked the High Council of Lyra-Aramatena for permission to destroy Lyra-Vega. The High Council rejected the proposal and offered a pathway toward rehabilitation of both races. The rebel group of Elohei-Elohim did not like this answer and destroyed Lyra-Aramatena. The destruction of Lyra-Aramatena destroyed the founders and the High Council. After this, the Elohei-Elohim went after the Cerez-Seraphai-Seraphim. The Elohei-Elohim created a hybrid race called the Anu-Elohim. the Anu-Elohim wanted to be creator gods and take over the whole universe. The Christus founder races created humans, a Lyran-Sirian race form also called the Orphan, to reverse the damage by the fallen races and facilitate healing by reversing their convoluted DNA. In response, the Anu-Elohim later created the Anunnaki race to destroy humans. The consequence of all this genetic manipulation and wars was two fallen races, the fallen Anu-Elohim and the Seraphim. The destruction of Stargate 12 on Lyra-Aramatena created a black hole. The black hole leads to a phantom matrix. The black hole has been progressively pulling this time matrices and galaxies into the phantom matrix to feed off the energy. The fallen races will eventually suck the entire universe into the fallen matrix black hole system unless the rip in spacetime is healed. The fallen beings in the phantom matrix were originally part of our matrix. The fallen angelic beings wanted to create their twisted creation. The story of Lucifer challenging God and wanting to create his universe is a kindergarten version of a large interdimensional drama that took place involving groups of founder races. The founder races were trying to help the fallen ones who could not recognize their connection to creation. The fallen ones were trying to take over the known universe to become creator gods, and this is how they ended up in a black hole matrix. Since 360 billion years ago, the gates in our galaxy are closing, and when that happens, the inflow of energy from the larger structure will stop, and entropy will consume the Milky Way galaxy. The reason the Dark Ones corrupted our galaxy is food. They are in a black hole system that is cut off from the energy of creation and has to suck energy vampirically. The coalition of guardians trying to reverse the damage to the Milky Way. Brahayama founders races are the Anuhazi Feline Hominid Emerald Order, the Cerez-Avian Hominid Seraphim Gold Order, and the Inyu Cetacean Brahayama Amethyst Order. The founder races created guardian races to protect from this time matrix from fallen angelic races and restore our time's integrity. The Emerald Covenant is an agreement between the three founder race consciousness collectives and any species that would create peace in the galaxy and a co-evolution system where they would work together in harmony. The Anu are a hybrid between the Elohei-Elohim and the Brahayama race that suffered genetic digression. The Anu rebelled against the founders 250 billion years ago to become the D11 Anu-Elohim Fallen Angelic Legion, from which the Anunnaki Fallen Angelic Anu-Elohim. 250 billion years ago, war broke out in the Lyran constellation involving fallen Elohim. Our solar system came into existence 4.5 billion years ago from the fall of Tara. Tara was destroyed because of the misuse of power generator crystals deep underground. The crystals exploded and destroying the planet. The Gaian-Orion Wars occurred around 570 million years ago. The Anu-Elohim created the Anunnaki races in reaction to the creation of the Elohei-Elohim human guardian race. The Anunnaki were created with the intention of their race serving as a vessel through which the Christic human race would be destroyed. The destruction of humanity would provide the Anu-Elohim fallen angelic totalitarian collective with exploitative dominion of 11 dimensions of our time matrix. Human origins. Humanity began 560 million years ago as an immortal race called the Churanusian, a 12 DNA strand version of the Orphan on planet Tara in Harmonic Universe 2. The Churanusian race had a 12-strand DNA morphogenetic imprint that allowed for an embodiment of the 12-dimensional frequency bands of an HU4 avatar identity. Humans were created as a planetary guardian race of godlike beings. The Density 2 Surian Wars. When Tara fell, the Guardians moved the halls of Amenti to inner Earth. Around 560 million years ago, the power generator crystals deep underground in Alania exploded due to the Templar Solar Initiate's misuse of power from Tara's planetary core. Tara was destroyed and the halls of Amenti was moved to Earth. 550 million years ago, Lyrans settled on Mars and Maldek. Maldek was a planet in our solar system that was subsequently destroyed by the Draconian to become the asteroid belt. The largest fragment of Maldek became the third planet from the Sun, the Earth. The energy grids on Earth were twisted by the fallen angelic races to interrupt the natural flow of source energy. During the reptilian invasion of the Lyran system, 540 million years ago, survivors spread out to colonize SDR systems such as Rigel, Procyon, Antares, the Pleiades, Tau Ceti, Arcturus, and others. 250 million years ago, angelic humans were seeded on parallel Earth. These were the Palladorian cloisters. The Anu Elohim fallen angelic race seeded the Anunnaki fallen races in Sirius, including the Pleiadian, Niburian Anunnaki bipedal dolphin people of Sirius A, the Avian people, and the insect reptile gynoids. The fallen Nodedicran dragon moth and reptile lines of Lyra-Vega created the Draken, Zeta, and Draco lines of the Orion system. 75 million years ago, the Theatons from parallel Earth invaded Earth. 25 million years ago, Palladorian races were seeded on Earth. Electric wars destroyed humanity. Earth experienced a slow, partial pole reversal and tilted several degrees on its axis. A sudden, final shift in Earth's grid, as its poles realigned, caused a quick freeze ice age to occur, a flood that wiped out most life forms on the planet except for some of those residing in deep caverns beneath the seas. 5.5 million years ago, the Elohei-Elohim Leonine Anuhazi and the Seraphim Avian Ceres founder races created a wall in time, a barrier between Earth and Phantom Earth. The Great White Lion and Golden Eagle to hold Earth's planetary shields together and prevent Earth's Phantom Matrix descent after the Electric Wars. 3.7 million years, the Earth was emerging from an ice age that had resulted from the Electric Wars, and after the Great Ice Age on Earth, the second seeding began. The human soul was first infused into a hairy ape-like form, the Dago's cloister. 1.5 million years ago, the Orion Draken human Anunnaki became the Atlantean Aryan. A race called the Draken from the HU-1 Orion star system came to Earth and tampered with the genetic codes of the races. They created hybrids within the root races called Dracos, contaminating the human genetic code and altering the evolutionary imprint for a few of the Amenti souls. 1 million years ago, the Anunnaki introduced a race on Earth of human Atlantean Anunnaki children who were called the Nephilim. War between the Anu Elohim Draconian and the Anunnaki destroyed the second seeding. The Brenua banned the Draco from Earth.